all, with the use of the internet. First of all, with the use of the internet in collecting data. We use the internet in collecting data, in doing our research, and of course that passes as a way of learning electronically. Secondly, as part of the privileges I enjoy as a student in a Ghanaian university, I have access to a digital library. I can say that for the University of Ghana, where you have access to a digital library that you can access no matter the time or place. And thirdly, the eCampus platform, the interface that allows students to submit assignments, interact with their lecturers. These are the three main ways that Ghanaian universities, in my experience, have utilized e-learning. And you would agree with me, based on the submissions of every other person, that this is just a minimum, or like just a tip of the iceberg of the whole methodology of e-learning. I would like to first share my first conscious experience of e-learning in my immediate environment. It was when I was in high school. As a literature and English student, I had quite a number of books that I had to read. And among them was one written by William Shakespeare, entitled The Tempest. And you would agree with me, if you're familiar with William Shakespeare's books, is that the diction and the cultural context is it's quite difficult to relate with. But then after reading the book for the first time, it's also our lecturer, our teacher, gave us a play. That's the book being acted out, and we watched the play. And it was the aha movement for me, also for e-learning, because previously, everything that I did outside the classroom or outside the chalk and board, as Davis would put it, seemed like entertainment to me, until I had that experience, because it further enlightened me. It got me to see the book in a different perspective. It got me to see things, or let me say, better understand the book and the cultural basis in which the characters played. And it really, really impacted me and my mates in class. It moved me from being a B3 student in literature and English to an A1 student. And our teacher could see it reflect among all the students in the classroom. I'm just giving this example and to further throw light on the fact that we have downplayed the importance of e-learning, and we have not taken it serious in the past because we haven't, probably maybe because we haven't researched so much into it, or we are stuck to our old ways of the traditional method of e-learning. My second experience, conscious experience, and I'd like to say a big thank you to PASGA. That was my second experience, conscious experience of e-learning, and it has impacted my life so much. Even in the work of space now, e-learning is part of one of the ways through which I collect data, because my main focus area is research. I'd like to say a big thank you to you. First of all, for putting the curriculum of the Master of Research and Public Policy together. And secondly, for the resources and the time you training our lecturers, okay? Training our lecturers to impact knowledge on us. Thank you very much. We are grateful. I would like us to look at e-learning during the COVID-19 era in Ghana. I don't really have a lot of experience outside Ghana, and so and I'd like to believe, based on some of the submissions made by previous panelists, I heard some things that are common in Ghana, and it looks as if these things are common in other parts of Africa. E-learning only gained attention in Ghana during the COVID-19 era. It has then so far proven that it can actually work in isolation, and that it is not a supplement to the traditional system of teaching and learning, okay? Universities have adopted e-learning in all its forms, in tutorials, lessons, assessments, grading, and everything, to the extent that all requirements that students need to meet to attain a degree in an African university are being used. E-learning has been a platform that is being used to achieve that. So that's to say that e-learning indeed, it's a complete package to it. So I would say that's the scene, because it enlightened stakeholders of education to pay attention to e-learning. And with Ghana, I think, as much as we have some of the problems being faced by orders to power, internet connection, even the cost of e-learning, the government has taken swift measures. First of all, the University of Ghana has launched the One Student, One Laptop initiative. It was launched by the new Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, who, by the way, is a woman, and she's the first female Vice Chancellor. That's Professor Nanaba Apia-Afo. She has launched the One Student, One Laptop initiative. And in the launch, she called on the government to waive tax on such electronic devices that students and lecturers will be needing in order to enable them purchase these things. And these are some of the practical ways that we can solve the problem of the cost, as mentioned by Mr. Bernard earlier on, and even Gloria, the cost of e-learning. So that is what the University of Ghana has done. Apart from that, even the government of Ghana bought into it, because the Vice President of Ghana, His Excellency Mahamudu Bawumia, came and pledged his support to the One Student, One Laptop initiative. He also launched his own policy called the One Teacher, One Laptop initiative. So that's why I keep on mentioning that the COVID-19 pandemic seems like a wake-up call to Africans and to stakeholders of development in Africa, because it has proven to be the way to go, considering this COVID-19 pandemic. And so the government of Ghana has started this policy, absorb 70% of the cost of purchasing a laptop for teachers to use in classroom, of course, at the basic level, not at the tertiary level. But I think it's a build-up, and it's in the right direction, building up to the entire need for e-learning to be accepted, to be used in full. The policy by the University of Ghana is supposed to form part of, first of all, the need to ensure efficiency and effectiveness in teaching and learning. Okay, and so it has proven, the complete adoption of e-learning has proven in the University of Ghana that it's actually very effective, and it's something that staff have adopted and are ready to use, with the aim of ensuring efficiency and also increase admission, because a lot of people qualify to come to the University of Ghana, but they are not able to accommodate all of them because of the issue of capacity, the issue of space. Okay, and so this would go a long way to also equip students, because we are moving into a technologically advanced world, okay, in the world of work, where some of these skills that a student would have after finishing would come handy. And so the need for e-learning. I would like to conclude, not to take too much of your time. I would like to conclude by saying that e-learning is not a supplement. That's like, I'm very emotional about that aspect. E-learning is not a supplement to the traditional concept of formal education. But it should be adopted. It should be adopted as a full package, and it's should be faced by African University, because the advantages cannot be overemphasized. I can't go on and on again about the advantages. My colleagues and Prof have enlightened us on the advantages of e-learning. Talking about the issue of the costs to Ghanaian Africans and the way forward, I think the fact that we find it's one thing diagnosing the problem and another thing offering the solution to the problem. I think that indeed, yes, it is the way to go. But then there is more that has to be done by African governments and African universities to make sure that it indeed solves the problem of public administration. And that is all the things that Bernard and Gloria have touched already with respect to electricity, the cost of electricity, the extent to which electricity has gone far, because there are some parts of Ghana that do not have access to electricity. Also the problem of even retraining the teachers, that is very important, because before knowledge can be imparted via e-learning, the person who is imparting the knowledge has to have some skills in the said area. And I believe that indeed it's a remedy to Africans' public administration problems, but it has to be implemented effectively if we would benefit from it. And so in my opinion, e-learning is not costly if you consider the cost. If you compare the cost that we are incurring with the traditional, as Davis would call it, chalk and board system of learning, where we have the price you pay of commuting to the place of learning, the price of always having to buy everything in hard copy, the price of even giving us information or impacting knowledge that students are most likely to forget. Like I'd like to make reference to a research conducted by the University of Waterloo, where it mentioned that students are likely to forget 50 to 80% of what they are being taught in class within one day, and 90 to 98% within a month. But when it's interactive, when that particular study is interactive, it's more likely that students will retain the information that they are.
Ruth, we should be finishing, my dear. Please wind up.
Hello.
Bruce, please wind up.
Hello, please, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you, please, but wind up.
Oh, okay, yes. And so for me, the cost of e-learning is nothing compared to the cost or the price that we are paying for using the traditional system of education. That is the chalk and board. And so it just takes the political will. And I think that so far, with the COVID-19 pandemic, African governments, in the case of Ghana, are taking the steps to ensuring that e-learning is absorbed and used. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Ruth, for that information. We are glad Ghana is trying to manage better than, as I have seen, it is trying to manage better than where we are in East Africa. The cost here is becoming too much that some of the students manage to leave school, manage to leave university, not managing laptops, not managing internet connectivity when they are at home. Even coming to campuses, most of our campuses in East Africa still have gaps. The connectivity is not all that fine, but for you, I can see Ghana is trying to manage here and there. So we thank you for those deliberations and those good insights. And as I said, this presentation is coming out as a publication. So in case members who have presented you want to have a write-up, share, you will later on share it along after the presentation. It is my honor and privilege to cross nearby here. We have just a nearby friend here called Kenya. In Kenya, their things might either be similar to ours or not. And in that case, I am crossing virtually to talk to our friend Zebi, who is in Kenya. Zebi is a colleague I knew when we were in Mombasa some time back. He is a colleague who has done too much in the youth, public policy related issues. He's a man who does a lot with Panacea. I don't know if I've spoken it right. And he's a great man in terms of managing policies that are directed to youth. Most times, ZB hangs out with me on Sunday in what we call the book hangout, and many more things. So please, members, join me for the purpose of time, cut the very length biography of Mr. ZB, and then we allow him to talk to us this afternoon. Mr. ZB, we kindly and warmly welcome.
Thank you very much, Davis, for the warm welcome, and I'm really happy to get to see you guys. I'm happy to see Gloria, Ruth, all those guys that we were in Mombasa during the conference. Yeah, it's really nice to get to see you guys after quite a long time. I would also like to thank Prof. Alex for the presentation. It was quite eye-opening. It was quite nice. I really got to learn some good insight that I think I will also get to share with my colleagues. So now my presentation, I intend to focus on a few areas, some of the challenges from the Kenyan context. As you might have seen, or Davis has indicated, I'm also a postgraduate student, Masters of Research and Public Policy. And I also got to experience e-learning at the wake of COVID-19. Of course, at that time, the first case in Kenya was reported in March 2020, if I'm not wrong. And actually, the government put it out in the media. It's at that point, actually, that there was quite a lot of fears around how the learning will take place. Students were a bit in panic and also getting, even from the university, yeah, it was something that was unexpected. So there were no policies in place, per se. There were no regulations. There was no law to direct or to state. But then the government, upon realizing it, set up, he set up a national emergency response committee, yeah, to be able to come up with the guidelines, of course, that were more oriented on health, how to take care of yourself. But then also at the university level, they were able to come up with policies and also give direction on how the learning would take place. Unlike before, when we were used to go to classes, now at this time, we now have to embrace these other platforms, these online platforms, which, as Prof said, and all of us, we have agreed that this thing is actually not new. Some of these platforms actually, it just pricked my mind that Zoom, actually, we were talking about it when we were in a conference, yeah. I remember there was one friend of ours, yeah, who is also from Uganda, and he had shared with us about Zoom. But at that time, we never came to think that we would use it actually. Yeah, if Gloria, you can remember, it never pricked in our mind that, oh, this Zoom would one time use it, yeah, with the wake of COVID. So those are some challenges that you guys, I wouldn't want to repeat. Some of the challenges, actually, you'll notice they are cross-cutting. They are the same challenges we also face in Kenya. Issues of power shortage, yeah, issues of internet connectivity. Like in Kenya, actually, the coverage, yeah, in terms of internet connectivity, it's 40%, yeah. So you realize there's in terms of not areas that can fully be able to cover internet. And that means that even considering not all students come from the town, yeah, there are those from rural areas. And for them, internet, they may be experiencing internet challenges. Some of them don't have laptops, or maybe they use friends' laptop, issues like those, yeah. So you will realize the challenges are actually quite the same, because there is nothing new that I would really say that this challenge is here and it's not in Uganda. So they just cut across. However, with this e-learning, we also come to understand that there are opportunities, yeah, in it. For instance, it has provided flexibility. You as a student, you can do your classes, yeah, from wherever you are, yeah, in your house, in your room. So it has provided flexibility. Also to the professors, to the lecturers, there's also provided flexibility to them, because it's also saving the cost. Yeah, as Prof said, using fuel from class to your house. Also at the university levels, because in Kenya there are issues of physical infrastructure, facilities. Yeah, more especially public universities. They are not fully equipped in terms of having computers, considering the number of students that universities accommodate or enroll. The number is quite high. And compared to public universities, I'm sorry, as compared to private universities, which they don't enroll a big number of students. So you find public universities yet to have a lot of challenges in terms of facilities. They don't have enough laptops, and if they are there, they're just a few which students can only use in the library. Then you go, so you can't like pick those, especially those public universities with desktops. Yeah, you see, you can't just pick the desktop and go with it at home. You see, so you will realize those are some of the challenges. But with e-learning, it has taught us that although we had initially we had what Prof had Odell, yeah, the open distance learning, but it wasn't that active or aggressive. In fact, very few students that have enrolled, like for example, in Kenya, there's a study that was done out of 12 universities. Out of 12 universities, it was found that only 19,000, imagine, only 19,000 out of students that enroll in a year, about 500,000, yeah, that is Kenya. Only 19,000 students enroll for open and distance learning, which is basically they adopt the e-learning. So you can see that although it was there, but it wasn't that active and it wasn't embraced as compared to now that we are realized, oh, this thing should be there. Oh, we need most people to enroll. The government needs to embrace it. So that has been one of the opportunity, flexibility. Then another thing we have learned is to be able to adapt, yeah, in situations, yeah, because you never know what will happen next year. You never know what will happen 10 years from now. Maybe something else will come that even surprises us more. So it has taught us to adapt as students, as lecturers, as government officials, to adapt to situation quickly. Because if it's not that the case, you'll find we waste a lot of time. For instance, in 2020, you guys will agree with me that there's a lot of time that was wasted. Some people didn't go to school, because universities are trying to adjust. So how do we manage? Because most of them were using the traditional method of teaching. Then other people that got affected, you will find like students that do health medicine, for them, they have to do practicals, yeah? So just imagine how would they do this through e-learning. So you find it's quite challenging, but also it has provided an opportunity for innovation, as Prof said rightly, because now they'll start thinking, yeah, what are those innovative ways that they can do even those practicals without necessarily going to school, which of course it requires the government to come up with policies and also other ways of doing those practicalities. Then it has also given an opportunity to enhance e-learning management systems. Yeah, in most public universities, it's not something that has been adopted, embraced, and integrated. Yeah, so it has opened opportunity for the university to look at e-learning management system more seriously and also to advance it. Also, when I talk about learning management system, it also encompasses softwares. Yeah, it has also challenged, yeah, the government to provide tax incentives, something that hasn't been done yet. But then there is a need for a policy, yeah, where government provides subsidies and incentives, yeah, tax incentives for softwares, something laptops, all those things. So there is a need for policies to be able to mitigate some of these challenges, because now the cost of laptop, you can imagine, yeah, it becomes a challenge, and at the same time, you see, paying school fees, it becomes quite a challenge. So there's a need
Zebby? Zebby, can you go on? Me, I'm not getting you. Are we getting our brother? Zebby? Hello, Zebby. Yes, as our brother connects again, I think we seem to have lost him. I don't know if colleagues, you can say in and see if we are getting Zebby. But as a matter of fact, me, I'm not getting him properly, and I think we could have lost him. Zebby? All right, as we just connect back at Zebby, we had a number of insights. And these insights were coming out from the western part and the eastern part of East Africa in terms of Iran. There are enough, as we wait for Zebby to come in, there were a number of questions. I think we can begin responding to them as we wait for Zebby. And the first question is going to Ruth. Ruth, do we find Iranian university going purely Irani? Ruth, can you respond to that question? Ruth? Okay, it's like we are still trying to get back at Ruth. As we also try to get back at Zebby, it's like the internet connectivity has cut off our brother Zebby in Kenya. There was a question that was going to Gloria, and the question was, I'm not getting that, but the question was, how has Nigeria managed to care for technological input in its university? Gloria? Yes, Gloria.
Yes, can you repeat the question again?
The question that we got here was, how have universities managed to improve their technology in terms of internet and others to facilitate e-learning? For Ruth and Carmen.
Wow. I'm sorry, the line was frozen most of the time. I mean, this is one of the challenges we're talking about e-learning. So I couldn't hear the things you.
Can I get
I didn't get it in full. I didn't get your question in full.
The question was, how have Nigerian universities managed the installation, the management of technology in their places to facilitate e-learning than before e-learning was the focus? I can adjust it like that. What have they put on board? I think we are getting back as a this go to that one, then we get online.
Hello, David. Sorry, I lost you guys. The experience some technical issues.
Gloria, you can note down the question and then you can get.
Davis, can I proceed? Sorry, I had lost you guys. Experienced some technical issues here. So, should I proceed from where I had stopped?
I think then we shall respond.
Yeah. Should I proceed as I wrap up?
You proceed.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, guys, for that. I just had some technical issues. No, now these are some of the challenges with technology or e-learning. Yeah. So, as I was saying, yeah, it has its challenges and also opportunities. So, as I was pointing out, issues of we need a policy. Looking at it in terms of now the policy aspect of it as a government. If there is a need to have a policy that provide tax incentives for gadgets like laptop and softwares, there is also a need for subsidizing data. You require data as a student, as a lecturer. In Kenya, actually, the good thing is, for example, University of Nairobi, where I'm pursuing my Master's of Research and Public Policy, the university was providing free data specifically for students. So you are supposed to fill in some requirements. We have a student portal. Then you will be sent data. But then, not all universities would get these privileges. That's just University of Nairobi. There are other universities that would not get such an opportunity, because some of these things they are organized depending with the university. So there are those who will provide such kind of incentives, others will not. Then of course issues. I liked that idea that Ruth was talking about, the Vice Chancellor giving laptops. I think that's quite good, because not all universities, students are actually suffering. You will find a student, 3 students are sharing 1 laptop, you see? And with the economy, inflation is now becoming a problem. Life is becoming expensive each and every day. So you will find it becomes a challenge. Then another thing, which is also an opportunity, problems also, there are opportunities in this, there are problems are opportunities in this case. So another thing is the digital infrastructure. There is a need to invest in digital infrastructure, in terms of areas that do not have connectivity, internet connectivity. There is a need to put out, to set out if it's Wi-Fi, all those things. And if they are not in policy, the government has not come out really strongly, and they haven't legislated. Just like you guys had, you have the National Council for Higher Education. We also have a Commission of Higher Education. If they don't come strongly to provide guidance, policy guidelines and actions to that, you will find that most universities will get affected, more especially public universities. Then another point that I would like to reiterate, which Gloria, you had talked about, public-private partnership. There is a need of policy, that is anchored on public-private partnership, because you will find most of these corporations, they make quite a lot of money. For instance, in Kenya, we have Safaricom, they can partner with the government, universities, to provide free internet, actually, they can also, the university can also liaise with these communication like Safaricom and others. They can also provide these gadgets. There are these gadgets that I think we stopped using them. They are called, I've forgotten their name. So internet is just put inside there. You just use it after you subscribe a particular time, then you can renew it, you see?
Sebi, can you unmute?
Oh, sorry. I don't know whether you guys got me.
Okay, can you go ahead? Go ahead.
Okay, so
and you wind up because your technology put you
okay.
Some of your
okay,
time.
So
please wind up.
I
want people to go.
And actually I need to be somewhere else, so let me just wrap it up. So there is a need to invest in digital infrastructure, as I said, tax incentives towards acquiring issues of a laptop, softwares, and all those things. So there is opportunities in e-learning, despite the challenges that we have experienced. And there is quite a lot. There is quite a lot that we can get out of it. But then also the traditional method is very important. So we should not just throw the baby together with the bath. What do they say? So we can't really do away with traditional, because also there's need to connect, one-on-one with your professor, with your lecturer. There's need for that. So with that, thank you very much for the opportunity, Davis. I look forward for we partnering with my association, my entities, I have an association of police practitioners and other partners for us to do more of this. Yeah, there's a lot we can learn from each other in different countries because our challenges are just the same. Is how we're able to come up with solutions and ideas to address these challenges. So thank you very much. You guys enjoy your evening. I'm rushing in another workshop, so you'll allow me rush there. Yeah. But thank you a lot, Prof. Thanks a lot, Prof. I am looking forward to get to meet you again.
Zebby, thank you very much for that presentation. And it shows that there are issues in Kenya that we need to address in terms of technology and whatever. But before you go, there was a question here that was saying, how is Kenya ready to go e-learning purely? Assuming things got worse, that we have to do e-learning. What efforts have Kenya done, or they could do, to have e-learning throughout without having a physical interaction at university, both for administration and for students?
Thank you for that question. So at the moment, this is the Ministry of ICT, is the Ministry of ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs, which is concerned with issues of digital infrastructure, internet connectivity, and all those things. So at the moment, the government is trying to also partner with this, with the Ministry of Education, to try come up with ways, because also setting up of some of these things, it requires funding, and most of our university, especially public, issues of funding are there. So I think they are still working to see how that can be budgeted, though of course there is a lot of push and back, considering they're just focusing on health, yeah, issues of health, you know, that's where a lot of money is being pumped, unlike in education. So I think there's the Ministry of ICT is working on that. You know, now we are heading to the political season, yeah, as you guys know. This year there will be elections, so there's a bit of slowness, yeah. But I think the Ministry of ICT is working on ways to ensure internet coverage, yeah, in rural areas, considering that even elections, yeah, when they are being done, you know, we were using results were being transmitted digitally, yeah, for the elections. It will also affect them. So you see, this is something that is also required by the government for election. At the same time, to enhance e-learning. At the university level, they are also trying, public university, also trying to come up with their own interventions, yeah, by purchasing laptops for the libraries, not for the students per se. And also they're also trying to get more personnel, yeah, more personnel on IT to be able to come up with applications, yeah, that are customized to enable the lecturers and the students interact through e-learning. Like for example, MRPP, you guys are aware, we have that the learning management system, which we used actually quite well to get resources. Yeah, so there are actions that are being taken, though at a slower pace. Yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah, but there is no policy as we stand to enhance issues of e-learning. They are just directions that are being given from the university level. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I hope that suffices.
Zebby, thank you for that feedback. And as you had already notified me that you would be going away, I would, in 1 minute, ask you to send some Herald colleagues. And I think we shall be releasing you for now, because we told you we had an engagement to work on. Now I turn it to Ruth. Ruth, are you now set?
Yes, please. I'm set now. I was having a...
Okay, fine. There was and before we go to the questions, I'm glad to appreciate you, the panelists, for having saved the time to give us your insights. And in the little time remaining, we are going to respond to the few panelists, I mean the attendees. We have a few questions, and after that we shall make our remarks, and then we shall be able to to conclude this dialogue. Now, the first question we are having is going to Ruth, and he's saying, do we see Ghanaian universities going pure e-learning?
Thank you for the question. Honestly, there are some Ghanaian universities that are already doing e-learning as a complete package. Like I said it earlier, there are Ghanaian universities that are using e-learning as the way of impacting knowledge and giving degrees out to students. Let me not say awarding degrees to students, and it is used in all its sense to impact the knowledge. But then also to say that we see Ghana going all out on e-learning would not be fair, because a large majority of Ghanaians who are in universities are in the public universities. And these public universities have had these same problems that we have mentioned, talking about access to power, talking about internet connectivity, the cost of laptops or gadgets, electronic devices. And so from where I stand and from where Ghana stands, there is a step in the right direction in ensuring that e-learning is enhanced. But moving all the way from the traditional form of education and using e-learning alone, I think Ghana has quite a long way to go. There's one thing having the idea on how to or implement, bringing out the policy, and there's another thing implementing the policy actually. So we have seen in December 2021, the government and being passionate about e-learning, and would like to see how that goes. And so I'd like to say that it's still too early to assume that we can move from the traditional system to e-learning alone, but then there is hope. Once the government has been able to diagnose the problem and is ready to support, we have that the political will to actually implement it, you know, comes to fruition. I hope I have answered you. I can't hear. Please, Mr. Davis, I cannot hear you. I don't know if it's just me, but I cannot hear you. I can't hear. I don't know if it's just me, but
no,
Mr.
I think
Davis,
Davis, perhaps you need to unmute yourself, sir.
okay, I can hear now.
Davis, kindly unmute.
Davis, you need to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now, colleagues?
Yes.
Yes, that's better.
Okay, I'm sorry for that, but I was saying, Ruth, we are grateful for that feedback and for that effort, although you are saying the future plan, in case it happens, that you can go e-learning. We can cross to Nigeria to our colleague, and we are saying the public is asking, how are Nigerian universities coping up with the technology needs they should be having, so as they have better e-learning? Gloria? Gloria?
Okay, yes, I'm unmuted now. Thank you for the question, Davis. Okay, so there's a lot of work going on in the Nigerian space to embrace e-learning. But as we know, Nigeria is large. we are only seeing the effect of e-learning in the private universities. And if we are sincere with ourselves and we want total inclusiveness, we want to also see this e-learning method in all public schools, because we know that most people of certain class, especially the lower income end of the population, cannot afford the private universities. They cannot afford the private universities. So therefore, we need the government to show us in practical terms that yes, it's not just to formulate policies. There's a general saying that Africa has some of the beautiful policies in the world, but the challenge is in implementation. How are we implementing it? How are we monitoring this implementation? For instance, I can say that in my university where I went, University of Lagos, some years ago, corporations like MTN Nigeria came and gave us e-library. It is there, but the challenge is, I mean, we're talking about e-library as far back as 15 years ago. It has always been there. But what is the student ratio to a computer system? If you check the population of the students and the number of the infrastructure on ground, it is inadequate. It cannot go round. It can't go round, which is why I talked about the public-private partnership. Government needs to involve more corporations to get on board. Because as it is now, government alone cannot do it. It is not something that is left in the hands of government solely. So there's need for corporate-private participation, partnership. We need to have such learning platforms across all universities so that even the children of the poor can access quality education in Africa. If you go to Kenya, it should be the same. If you go to thank God for Ghana. I mean, Ghana is leading by example. So we can begin to take baby steps. Even if we cannot do one child or one student to one laptop initiative, but let us look at the ratio and then have as many as we can that will benefit the majority of the students. So far, like I said, the only place you can see this initiative being on ground is the private universities. During the lockdown period, most private universities were still ongoing, but you know, the public schools were on lockdown. And these are some of the agitations of the Nigerian lecturers of the union, the ASU, Academic Staff Union of Universities in Nigeria. These are some of the agitations that they have. They are insisting that the Nigerian government come on board and do the right thing. Truth be told, we're not having enough funding. So if you give the funding for research, funding for such infrastructure, and then we can begin to move forward. Otherwise, we are just playing. We're playing with ourselves. It has come to a point where we must move beyond policy to actual implementation so that we can begin to feel this impact. And again, we cannot, let me just also put this here, that we cannot at this point in our system fully get on e-learning. There are some areas that are not accessible either by road. So how do you get internet facilities to such areas? How do people, citizens living in such areas begin to benefit from this technology? There are areas that do not have electricity access, they do not have road networks, they do not have, nothing is happening. So in such cases, we have non-governmental organizations that are trying to step in and offer some palliative, okay? But you see that those areas are still lagging behind. For proper inclusiveness, we must get corporate, public-private partnership.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Gloria.
Answered your question.
Thank you, Gloria, for that insight. And this one is going to Bernard. Bernard, this one we are saying, how are we including persons with special needs in the discussion of e-learning? Bernard?
All right. Yeah, I've got you. Thank you, Davis, and of course my colleagues for the wonderful presentations that we've had. I want to respond to two questions. There was a question that came earlier in the chat. I would like to respond to that first before I tackle the
okay, you can go ahead.
The special needs interest. The other question that came earlier was how convenient is e-learning to private university in the north, especially when they're emerging from the war. I recollect seeing that question. I think largely there is a convergent here in this conversation that we're having, that e-learning actually provides a huge opportunity. Yeah, and of course any private university should be more willing to adapt to the online or e-learning per se, and therefore in that aspect is actually very convenient, because actually private universities, as the model at which they have been operating here, it is not, to a larger extent, it's not a public good kind of a service. Okay, they are, in a larger extent, they are profitably motivated. Yeah, and so if you go online, means that the cost actually it's going to reduce for the public, for the private universities, and so they will be able to make a lot of profits. Yeah, but the question is, this is a capitalistic economy, and of course we have seen private universities hide behind certain fees and charges within the universities, for example, functional fees that they've been hiding in and all that. So I think adopting the e-learning methodology would actually put a test to some of these costs that the universities are charging on students, and we should expect a significant reduction in terms of tuition fees. Yeah, that the private universities are charging. So yes, it is going to be very convenient, but also it's going to affect them, because then parents will pay more attention now to the tuition fee, and they expect the return, the value for money return. So the other question that you're asking is that how are universities adapting to accommodate the special needs learners? I think if at an international level, there are efforts that well-developed or well-positioned universities like Harvard or MIT or whatever you can name them, there are technologies that necessitate virtual hearing for those that they have hearing impairments, or visual. There are the gadgets that now correct visual impairments and so forth. So in a developed context, yes, there are efforts. Can we afford it as African? Not yet. We are not yet there, and I think that will take a little bit of some time. Yeah, that is why I have heard, I think, from many speakers here that let us adopt this e-learning, but let us adopt it while appreciating the traditional aspects of learning. Yeah, when you do that, like the one Ruth earlier on alluded, suggested, I think if you adopt 100% e-learning, then you're actually going to exacerbate a lot of exclusion. Yeah. So I think let's adopt, I think the more ideal is to adopt it as an hybrid. Yeah. So that we can be accommodative until we are able to afford or be able to have those technologies that are being used internationally. But of course, that challenges government to invest significantly in terms of our innovations. Thank you. Davis, you again mute.
George, I'm asking George
Okay.
to ask questions from his side.
Thank you, panelists, for the enriched conversations. My question is in line with I recently, what we have observed here in one of the public universities in Uganda. The Vice Chancellor of Makerere University, Professor Nawangwe, suspended 15 students who partook in a strike. In this strike, the students were protesting the fees that are being charged. And yet, the professor says it is blended learning. Professor Ijo Alex earlier on explained blended learning, which we all understood. The students were striking that they should be charged less amount. Taking such a scenario from Uganda, what is it that is at stake for us in higher institutions of learning? And I think Ruth Gayon, you have given us an example of how Ghana is making progress. Are students in Ghana comfortable with the fees that they are being charged in higher institutions of learning? What needs to be done to cause harmony as the policy of e-learning is being rolled out in African universities? Ruth Gayon, give us your experience in Ghana and possibly what administrators in higher institutions of learning can do to fix the problem of protests arising from students' discontent in regard to online learning. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I think, like you mentioned earlier, Ghana seems to be making progress when it comes to gravitating towards e-learning in this COVID-19 pandemic. But that's not to say that we have arrived. We are still making baby steps with the hope of being able to overcome the issue. But we are still facing the problems of overpricing. Internet is really, really expensive in this part of the world. We have issues of internet connectivity and even the electricity. But for most of the public universities in Ghana, or should I say all the public universities in Ghana are located in regional capitals. That's for one. They're located in the regional capital. And so we have to distort the education cycle or the system to an extent that we had 2 classes within the year taking part in teaching and learning at a particular time. So within a particular semester, we have first year and fourth year students studying. Because of the issue of connectivity, electricity, and even the issue of not all students having access to electronic devices. And so our whole academic calendar had to be turned. And it actually affected me so much because I was supposed to have graduated in 2020. I ended up graduating in 2022. So that is not to say that University of Ghana doesn't have any challenges when it comes to facing e-learning head-on. It's a problem right now, as we discussed. It's a problem that African universities are facing. But the universities have found ways of truncating, first of all, the academic calendar, changing schedules so that the needs of all students are catered for. And we also have institutions, or should I say corporate corporate bodies performing their civil society role, from MTN to students who actually need data to be able to partake in e-learning. It is difficult, but I think major of all of it is also because the government has a hand in what the public universities do. So fees are not determined by just the universities. And so there is a conversation between the government and then the university. And because the government has the interest of its people at heart, because at the end of the day, it's the same people you're going to come to and ask for votes. And so it makes it easier for the people, or should I say to the students, to be actually represented. The student representative leader is also there to negotiate things in the interest of the students. And so that is where we come from. But it hasn't been rosy. It hasn't been rosy. One of the new universities in the north had a huge problem with students threatening to go home because the school seems not to have been able to master its approach to this e-learning system. And so there were students who had gone all the way to campus and they didn't know if they were going to just do e-learning or they were going to study from home. And there was quite a demonstration on that. But I think it's like Gloria mentioned earlier, all stakeholders of education have to come on board. The government, the universities, and even the administration